Hello and welcome to Manufacturing Sustainability 20-Minute Talks. I'm Gemma, your host, and today I'm joined by Marion Rouzeaud, Global Head of Sustainability at Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence, a division of Hexagon AB. Marion is an accomplished sustainability leader with over a decade of experience at Hexagon, a Swedish-based company specialised in digital reality solutions that integrate sensor, software and autonomous technologies. Hexagon's offerings are designed to help organisations manage and utilise the growing volumes of data in sectors such as manufacturing, infrastructure and mobility. Their solutions aim to enhance efficiency, productivity, quality and safety throughout the life cycle of products. From the initial design and simulation stages to testing, manufacturing and final inspection, Hexagon's tools are engineered to optimise every part of the process. I am really pleased to have Marion join me today. She is an active participant in several expert groups focused on advancing sustainability initiatives, particularly within the manufacturing sector. With a strong interest in promoting the circular economy, she emphasises the importance of eco-design and circularity as key drivers of innovation. Marion's academic background includes a DSA in Marketing Management from HEC Lausanne and an Executive MBA from the ESCP Business School. Additionally, Marion is recognised as a GRI Certified Sustainability Professional and an ISO 14001 Lead Auditor. But beyond her professional qualifications, Marion is deeply engaged in sustainability organisations, including the Association of Climate Change Officers and the International Society of Sustainability Professionals. Passionate about environmental stewardship, she advocates for women's empowerment and global diversity, recognising that inclusion is essential for fostering both innovation and addressing the complex challenges posed by environmental and social issues. Let's hear from Marion, where she begins by telling me about her career journey.
I've been with Hexagon now for almost 11 years. So I started in 2013, which is quite a long time ago. I actually held multiple roles during my journey because initially I started with a marketing background. And then I got very quickly into more product management, business strategy roles. And I have to say that during these different years, I have been very inspired by all the stakeholders, the colleagues I met who were mainly R&D, technology, product stakeholder who were really deep into innovation and working on what would be the future of the manufacturing industry. So I got also now very interested into manufacturing in general. And on the side, I have to mention that I have been always a nature lover, animals and nature, environmental passionate. So at my time when I studied, I was not aware that you could have a career path into sustainability. That didn't exist. And I'm very fortunate that, since 3 years now, I'm head of sustainability for Manufacturing Intelligence Division. And I'm basically doing two things. I work on our internal transformation, so really our Hexagon goal, and this really on ESG, environmental, social and governance initiatives. And at the same time, which is still a little bit of what I've done before, is really working more on the tech, on the innovation product side. And this is more with our customers to see together how we can make a difference to transform the industry.
Manufacturing is, as we both know, one of the biggest contributors to global emissions. Can you start by explaining why sustainability is critical for the manufacturing industry and also the kind of impact it can have on the environment?
Yes, so I think the official numbers are that manufacturing is responsible today for approximately 1/5 of the total CO2 emission worldwide, which is already a lot. But if we think about it, manufacturing is touching all the other industries, right? So in Hexagon, we collaborate with all other industry, especially aerospace, automotive, but also, transportation, energy, medical, electronics. So it's not only about manufacturing itself, it's about the impact that manufacturing strategies and behaviors, processes will have on all the other industries that also have their impact. So that's one thing. The second thing, if we take a little bit of distance, everyone, not only manufacturer, realize that we are all using products, right? And these products, they have been produced, manufactured at some point, and we will use their products for their life cycle until the end of life of this product. So there's really something into the responsibility of a manufacturer to put somewhere in the consumption, the usage cycle, a product that will have a certain impact on society and on the environment. So this is where manufacturing is not only responsible for his own emissions, like the factory emission, the energy, the emissions, the waste, and all the consequences of these factories, but really about what happens into the same product that I have been producing once it's in the usage, in the consumption cycle. So this is where I think it's very simple to understand that manufacturing has a huge impact, but also a great chance to change the society we are living in. And that is, again, not only about CO2 emission, as said, but really about energy, but also about the product itself, right? The materials, the resources, and how actually we will use this material at the end of the product life cycle, meaning then a lot of waste generation.
Yeah. And to pull out of that, you said yourself, this is a huge challenge that the industry faces. And I think that a big part of what we're trying to do on this podcast is to connect the challenge and the opportunities. And it's a huge challenge, and manufacturers can, and rightly so, feel quite overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenge that the industry faces. So on that, before the episode, you told me, Marion, that up to 80% of a product's environmental impact is actually locked in at the design phase. So how can manufacturers rethink their design processes to prioritise sustainability right from the very beginning?
Yes, you're right that the first feeling is that this challenge is a huge challenge to rethink the entire product life cycle, right? So first thing is that there's something that is happening now and has to be a long journey into transactional, a linear process and a circular process. So already it's, I would say, a first mindset of the production stakeholders to think, I will have the responsibility to think about the impact of my product once it has been produced and sold to the consumer. So that's the first real, let's say, thinking process. And then the second thing is getting more familiar with your life cycle, right? Because you have to understand that it's the materials extraction, then the production process where maybe the manufacturers are more familiar. Usually this is their only zone of focus, but the reality is that now they have to start thinking what will be the transportation, what will be the usage cycle, the maintenance of my product, and then what is happening at the end of the life. And that means not only the recycling, which is really the last piece. It would be really about the dismantling, the maybe remanufacturability. So there's an entire planning process, something that is more of a business model thinking that has to happen. And that enables also to think about the number you have highlighted, 80% of an environmental impact at a design stage shows that if you think product life cycle, you have so many positive impacts, so many ideas that you can discuss at the beginning, even before producing or creating a product. And before we were thinking design more about maybe less prototyping, right? The more I design in advance, the more I'm doing virtual manufacturing, the less energy, maybe the less waste I will generate at the design phase. But now this 80% shows you that it's not only working with the design department, it's really about having a kind of futuristic vision of how my product will be used and how really thinking phase by phase of its usage, how actually I can reduce the full product lifecycle impact. And also, I would say that, it's not only about design and changing the industry, it can also be small, simple things like starting to implement some trainings on eco-design about what can I do on my product as product manager, product marketing manager, R&D engineer, little steps and sharing ideas or getting the opportunity for everyone to say, oh, maybe I'd like to have some recycled material on my product, or I want to have a product that can be easier to repair, or that maybe, because the entire idea is to think and make these different phases more sustainable. So it can be simply using the product longer, using it better, having less a negative impact during the usage phase of this particular product on the market. And I think really this is exciting, especially for the product team, to just participate to this type of brainstorming and workshop on how can I improve my product, not only on the features, but really thinking with sustainability as a key requirement in innovation.
How are advanced technologies like automation and additive manufacturing reshaping how products are made and inspected? And could you give us some examples of how these innovations really help to reduce waste and ensure more sustainable production practices?
Yeah, we just spoke about the durability as an example of a product, and this is exactly where I think quality is the base of what happens next, right? Because once you have designed the best product possible, now you have to optimize the production, the inspection process in your factories. And we always say this right first time. So of course, if you produce directly correctly, you don't have any waste, you don't have any scraps, everything works perfectly. And you mentioned automation as an example. I think this is very interesting, where you start thinking optimization, where imagining you have this higher quality, but now you want things to be even more efficient, where you are producing a part. If there's something wrong in the inspection, there's an automatic feedback loop to correct the error for the next batch coming in. And this is something that we see more and more in, smart factories. This is maybe the second big buzzwords about the smart system, where you have all these new trends with machine learning and AI, where not only are you going to connect and automate, you are going to learn, from the mistakes and improve step by step your processes into the shop floor. So it's becoming a key requirement in all the production processes, not only to be more efficient, but also to think about, is there any other manufacturing processes that we can use? So not trying to improve all the time. It's the same example as for the product. It's not only about making design more efficient with less waste, the same with traditional manufacturing techniques. Maybe it's also time to think a little bit out of the box. And we have all heard about the trend of additive manufacturing, where this is not only about reducing the waste, which of course will happen. It's really about, as we said, thinking full product life cycle, having potentially parts that are more performant, or thinking about lightweighting, or also, which is always a key requirement. But additive manufacturing is also bringing a lot more when we think about logistics. The fact that you can do on-demand local production, when we describe the full product life cycle, the entire transportation, storage, emissions and negative impact can be totally reduced with these type of new manufacturing processes. So yeah, there's a lot of positive changes happening into all the different steps of the manufacturing process.
What else can be done though for sustainability in addition to the design and the production improvements?
Yeah, we have now really zoomed in the design phase with this 80% of environmental impact. And then once you have thought about the product, how can you make the entire manufacturing process with your factory, some energy efficiency, a smarter, more automated, more connected processes? What can we do in addition to that? And this is what happened also now with the thought process we have in companies. How can we make these stakeholders work more together, right? So collaboration becomes key. This is something that we have seen missing also in the way to approach production, right? It's very linear. You design first and then you start producing and then you are distributing. The idea that we start bringing these people all together into one platform where they can, as on teams, discuss and share and optimize on a centralized database. It's something that also is changing the way that we are manufacturing parts. This is something also Hexagon has been working on since years, a partnership with Microsoft to have this type of teams group for engineers, for the different stakeholders in a factory to be able to work on the same database at the same time. So it's not only about sharing the different data in the department or cross department, but also if you have multiple factories, right? If you have a few locations in China, other in Europe or in the US, as it becomes as simple as when we are just calling each other and sharing files. But in that case, you're speaking about producing a new design, producing a new part, which becomes very exciting. So I think, as you say, collaboration will be the big topic. And if you dezoom, of course, it's not only about making design, production, inspection work together. You can also think about what about working directly with your suppliers, your customer, which I mentioned before, right, in the introduction, where we actually need to work together with, especially industry by industry, all the aerospace stakeholders, the big names. How do we want to, make a change in aerospace industry? The same discussion is happening for automotive, for electronics. And this collaboration across industries will enable, trying to have the new standards and having this sharing of best practices across stakeholders. And I would say even more than only business stakeholders, also a lot of collaboration with, the governments to work on to the future of regulation and how we all see the future of manufacturing.
Could you explain how manufacturers can use data throughout a product's life cycle to support sustainability in the future?
Yeah, so we have, I think, touched the data importance when we speak about the production cycle, right? So the importance of the data at the design phase, the importance of the data during production with this connection and automation, and then the importance of centralized data that you can share in a collaborative way before you are bringing your products, your parts on the market. I think the important thing here is to think that this data is not ending there, right? The data can be still useful once the product is in the usage phase. And here I'm thinking about, really working on getting to know your product better, because the idea is that if you start having data when, I will give you an example of a car during the usage phase, you will be able to understand the performance, how long the product is lasting, potentially the emission, if you can do anything for the repairing phase. So everything touching, predictive maintenance, thinking in advance how you will refurbish, manufacture this product. And if not possible, of course, all the steps of the disassembly and then recycling and doing the best efforts to reduce the impact of the product. So I think the easiest way to visualize this is to have these two circles, right? A circle of your production cycle and then the usage cycle, and thinking that this is interconnected and that the responsibility of the manufacturers doesn't stop after its first circle, but that having the data throughout the life cycle of the product coming back to you to get more knowledge. So that means I can include this data, the learning, directly in my next design phase, right? This is an infinite loop of learning. And the second thing for me that goes, as you have highlighted my passion for the digital product passport, is that imagine that each product in the future has a passport. Like you or we as humans, we have an ID card, a passport, the moment we are born, and then when we travel during our journey, we show at some point in these gate phases our passport. Why can't we have the same as a standard for everything we're producing, right? Because we are extracting something, we are taking responsibility on producing this product, then we are giving it away, but this product will have a life, right? And this is where I'm thinking it's not only a responsibility of the manufacturer, it's a responsibility and a value for the consumer to have more information. So at the gate phase, when it goes to the consumer, and this is the entire idea of the digital product passport, it is to get information about what happened before, but also about how am I going to use this product, right? Do I have any information how to repair it? Do I have to dispose of the parts of the product in a certain way? And this entire kind of guidance, we see some improvement with packaging, how to recycle certain packaging and how to reuse them. But this could become, if we work in that direction, something that is not put in question anymore, that every product could have a passport. We would share maybe responsibility, but there's a lot to do in the manufacturing ecosystem to give all this information and potentially track, as you say, the data would be extremely key to learn about the products, but also to be able to share the passport, because this is the second or third problem and challenge coming with this bigger vision. As much as now we are starting to collect data for emission, we have to start asking our supply chain, what is the data you have? And the same, where will we find data in the usage cycle? So a lot of challenges are coming with how to collect the data, how to use the data, how to share this data. But this is extremely interesting for most of the stakeholders, including myself, yourself, who want to have an impact. So it's not only about getting data today, it's about thinking how we can really rethink our product, product as a service.
What I want to say in response to that, Marion, is that I absolutely love the concept of that responsibility doesn't end with the manufacturer. As you say, as consumers, we're really driving the future of these products as they enter society. And I think it brings us right back to the start of our conversation, where we talked about this is a human challenge. This isn't just looking at it through a corporate lens, which of course we absolutely should be doing. It's about connecting the people making the products, the people using the products, and sharing the responsibility for the future of our planet.
Exactly. And this is a very nice way to make a summary out of this big question of, how to use data for making a big change into manufacturing. It's not only the manufacturers or the production owners' responsibility, as you say, it's really about being ready also as a consumer to potentially change some of our habits, right? Being ready to see a product as a service, to enter maybe in a sharing economy, which I know step by step we are accepting. We have the sharing car now that is almost something normal. But trying to think also differently. I'm purchasing something, but it's not mine. It's something that will be shared with other stakeholders, and I'm paying just the right to use it. Is something that I think is a change that all of us can start into our daily habits. So you're right, it's a challenge not only for the larger company, but for all of us in the way that we are using the products.
Marion, I have been delighted to get some time with you to have this conversation today. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. This has been 20 Minute Talks.
Thank you very much.